Vayasef Elamav. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Aaron, Moses. This was said of all of them at or before their death. He was gathered unto his people. These towering figures, it was said of them that they were gathered to their own people as they transitioned from this life to the next. We can only assume that this was a spiritual family that they were joining, people like them, God's people. What's to be said of us when we meet that same fate? We're all going to die. Who are our people? If we look at death through God's eyes, death is an act of grace if the purpose of it is to join us with our people. It's an act of grace that cuts the tension that exists in this life. This week, there were a lot of events for us to remember, and events that cause a lot of tension between us. Remembering 9/11, the death and tragedy that surrounds that, and what kind of world that leaves behind. Some videos of police brutality that continue to surface, that causes division between us as to who we should support in those moments. The police and the system that exists now, currently, in the state that it's in, or people that are asking for change who feel like the system isn't fair to them. There is a tension and division that exists between us, and we usually divide ourselves along political lines. I tend to be apolitical, and I look at these issues through the lens of humanity. I don't tend to align with a badge, an institution, a political party, certainly not. But rather, I look at these issues through the lens, or try to, through the lens of God's people. What would God say about this issue were he here? And in fact, his intention is to show up here through us, to participate with us in his creation and in his governing of this place. We don't get that right all the time, but I think it's because we tend to align with a certain people or place or ideology. So who is that? I think it's important for us to think about who that is. Who do we pine for? Who do we pay for? Who do we support with our time and energy and finances and love and physicality? Who are our people? And who in that moment, when we finally meet that same fate, when we have that reckoning call like Brian's, on that last flight that's going down, who will we be reflecting on as our people? When that tension is finally severed and we're no longer torn between who we want to be with and who's tugging at us in this life, that act of grace, death finds us, and we're no longer divided. Who are our people?